Trying something a little bit different here before I get started. Hello, everybody. Cash here. And I would like to tell you that the Cashcast is being sponsored by the House of Helen by Elena Pineda. The House of Helen will be in Las Vegas this July. So why don't you go ahead and give her a call to schedule a booking, and she will promptly tell you to go fuck yourself. You guys think I'm kidding? She will. Actually, she does produce the show. She's the one who told me, hey, look, go out, talk for about 10, 15 minutes, then just shut the fuck up because nobody wants to hear you talk for more than 15 minutes. So I will heed her advice and do that. The House of Helen. All right, if you dare call her and ask her to cooperate, no payment. Let's just share our pictures and all that. She will pretty much rip your head off and shit down your neck. And I just wanted to warn you of that. House of Helen, no longer free. She's got bitches to pay. I don't even know if she's going to approve this opener, but hey, I'm going to say it anyway. I was going to have a picture of Triples Alley in San Francisco in honor of the first place San Francisco Giants, pride logo and all. But I decided to put this down on this nice looking beach. I'm pretty sure some of you already know where this is. This is Normandy. And as you can tell, it's pretty empty. It's probably taken in the wintertime. Because if it was the summertime, it would be some freaking crepe-eating French broad walking around naked. Crepe-eating for you, Butch Bo. But back in 1944, obviously, it was full of Allied troops. And we broke through the line, the German line, and pretty much pushed them back into Germany. It was really embarrassing for them because, hey, they had put up this iron wall, and what Dwight Eisenhower would call. And he also wrote a letter saying that the eyes of the world are upon you. And he also pinned his resignation in case it failed, which it didn't, but it came at a huge cost. And fortunately, my Uncle TG lived through that day. Yeah, he was at Normandy on that day. Never talked about it. Never said one word to any of us, just to some of his family members, his brothers and sisters. And I think his thing was, I'm very lucky I'm alive. I don't know why I'm alive. And he would tell his daughters, hey, some things I don't need to talk to you about. That's one of them. So honor the brave men who stormed the beaches of Normandy. That's today's picture. I also could have talked about what happened in this building right here, the Wuhan Lab, not to be confused with the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's for children. But a lot of news coming out of Washington, D.C., Dr. Anthony Fauci, the treasure trove of emails that were released that I think the Daily Beast or BuzzFeed, one of those asshole things, and the Washington Post, a lot of those emails that they put out there, and on the Freedom of Information Act, everybody got to read them. And there are a lot of questions on how the virus got out. I could go on for at least 20, 30 minutes on it. But you're going to have to rely on the right-wing media for that because they're the only ones covering it. You know, remember last year, Donald Trump told everybody, hey, it came from a lab. It's the China virus, Kung flu, all those other good Trumpisms he put in for it. Well, of course, he caught shit for it. It was a conspiracy. That's all you guys do on the Republican side. It's a conspiracy. It came from a bat. It came from somebody eating bat soup. Well, come to find out, the COVID breakout quite possibly could have happened by tax dollars that we spent, that we gave them. Our money could have actually started this virus. I could have also played Rand Paul telling Anthony Fauci that wearing 2 masks is nothing but theatrical bullshit. But I'm not. And remember, Wu-Tang is for children. Wuhan is for escaped COVID viruses. Actually, what I'm going to cover and what I'm going to talk about is what happened in the NBA. And if you don't watch the NBA, hey, your choice. Don't blame me to a point. But like I said, I still watch the NBA. I still like watching basketball. I've been watching it since 1975. The game has changed a lot. But I still watch. And this is from Game 5 of the NBA opening round of the Western Conference. Suns, I think it's the quarterfinals. Suns, Lakers, and the Suns just laying a beating on the Lakers without Anthony Davis. Here's the video.
Treatment on the ankle. Perhaps a little frustrating. We saw him during the break, and he had some words for that team as he was walking up and down that sideline.
It's not the first time LeBron James has actually left the court. He did it last year during the NBA Finals. LeBron James and his legacy is going to be one that's pretty complicated. And I'll explain it here in just a second. But one thing that Lord Harp, and if you don't know about Lord Harp's Daily, it's in Sports Talk, and I strongly suggest you read that daily. And Bill Harp is very opinionated, and he did say you don't wear a Kobe Bryant shirt saying you're honoring the Mamba and not go out and play. And he was directing that at Anthony Davis. And Bill Harp is an Anthony Davis fan. So the Lakers, defending bubble champions, are out after one round. And this after they beat the Warriors in a play-in game. But that's not the issue with the Lakers. In fact, the Lakers really have one issue, and that's LeBron James. And it's also the time of the year when everybody in Sports Talk, not just Sports Talk 2.0, but every group in America, this is the time of the year where they start the annual LeBron James or Michael Jordan, who's the GOAT. Without fail, every year, whether we want to hear it or not, whether you can put rules out there that says, all right, enough of this shit, every time at this part of the year, it's always who's better, James or Jordan. Now, I want to take a fair look at this, all right? Because personally, LeBron James and his game, that's not the issue. In fact, he's 6'9", 260 now, and he can play point, he can play shooting guard, he can play power forward, he can play all 5 positions on that court. All right, to compare him to Michael Jordan in that aspect, you're wrong. All right? But it's not the question. The question is, who's the GOAT? What do you put the criteria for who's the greatest of all time? How do you convince the young kids who will tell you that Michael Jordan could not keep up with LeBron James, and they would have a point? Jordan would never guard LeBron because LeBron's too big. They're just out of position. All right? But Jordan has that mystique. LeBron James doesn't. Now, what's fitting and what really glosses over with Michael Jordan is here's his last year. His last 2 years, he wore this uniform. Rarely is that brought up. And I think that was Michael Jordan trying to catch lightning in the butt. He hadn't played in 3 years. He tried to be the focal point of the Washington Wizards. The game had passed him by. It was kind of sad. In fact, Michael Jordan should have walked off the court when they won their last championship against the Utah Jazz. His last shot should have been the one he took against Byron Russell, where he maybe pushed off. But the thing with Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan's legend every year just grows and grows and grows. As for LeBron James, he's had some missteps in his career, and his biggest problem with LeBron James, his biggest problem is he wants you to love and revere him. He's not a bad human being, folks. This is LeBron James right here at his promise school in Akron, Ohio. I don't care how you guys say he's got taxpayer dollars. The man has put a lot of his money into this school. You give him credit for that. The man put underprivileged kids in a school. All right, that's props. Don't say, well, he gets these kind of tax breaks and all this. No, can't do it. Michael Jordan's attitude, fuck them kids. So if you're talking about who's a better human being, I would probably have to say LeBron James. On the court, if he's coming down the court with a full head of steam, you're not going to stop LeBron James. If you want somebody to have the ball in the final minutes for the biggest shot of the game, you give it to Michael Jordan. You give it to Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan would elevate the game to another level. LeBron James, he couldn't do it by himself. I get the argument of Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen. I get that. However, Scottie Pippen was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. So it wasn't like he went to the Olympics, recruited two other players, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and formed a super team in Miami with this stupid shit. Another thing that really hurts LeBron James is the day he went on ESPN with the decision. Yeah, as a free enterprise kind of guy, he's allowed to do that. There was nothing wrong with LeBron James shopping his talent around. And in this case, it worked out because he had a pretty solid team with Dwayne Wade, and he had a solid with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. He had a solid team. That hurt him. You might not want to admit it, but that hurt him. In fact, if you watch the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2010, which would be the first of his last years with the Cavs, try to add that up. In that whole series, he was very passive. It was like he didn't care. So you knew something was up. They can't win it with these bums. I'm out. So off to Miami he went, won 2 titles in 4 years. But as Cleveland is now starting to rebuild, and they've got this guard named Kyrie Irving, only seemed fitting that LeBron James leave a older Heat team to go back home. I'm going back home. And the whole freaking, LeBron's going back home. And everything was forgiven with the Cavaliers when he won a title with them. Everything was forgiven. When he blocked Andre Iguodala's shot late in the game, man, that cemented him. That cemented him right there in Cleveland Cavalier lore, which there's not much of. But when it looked like they couldn't win anymore, here's where he made a mistake. It's one thing to go to Miami and play, but when you go out to Los Angeles to play with the Lakers, and as much grief as we give the Laker fans, hey, those guys know their shit, man. Laker fans will not take any of your bullshit because of who they've had wear that uniform. Magic, Kareem, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. They could tell you who Gail Goodrich was. He's a trivia question, too. James Worthy, Kobe, Shaq. They tell you all those guys. If you look like you're dogging out there or you quit, Laker fans, what I thought was so mind-blowing was as soon as LeBron James announced he was going to the Lakers, Laker fans were like, I don't know. When they won their title last year, the bubble title, a couple of people were like, man, it's great being champions. LeBron, all right, LeBron, you got us a title. But right now, they're not. And James has had some missteps when he's been off the court. As great of a human being as he is, sometimes his mouth gets in the way. last year threatening to walk out of the playoffs. We're done. We're walking out. We're not going to finish. Really? And then this little thing he pulled this year. You're next. Doxing that cop in Ohio because he shot a black girl. Only reason he did it is because she had a knife getting ready to stab another black girl. Even people are like, oh man, hey, you need to look at the entire tape, man. What the hell? Those are the missteps that LeBron James has had in his career. Talent-wise, I'm telling you, he's one of the greatest I've seen play. And if he wanted to, he can go out and score. In his prime, I should say. In his prime, if he wanted to go score 45 points a night, he could have. He didn't. He won one legitimate title, in my opinion, when he went back to Cleveland. And even then, he didn't waited until Kyrie got there. And LeBron James is always trying to get super teams to win titles. And when you tell people after you win a title, now I'm going to get my damn respect, you're not going to get respect. Jordan, on the other hand, his legend grows. And let me put it to you this way. I said it earlier. Jordan wasn't a good dude. In fact, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, a couple other do, when he retired the first time, he said he was tired and all that. No, he had a lot of shit going on at the time. I think he was told to step away for a little bit or take some time off. Yeah, I know his dad died. I know that's a lot to get over. But he had some other things going on. And Michael Jordan is not the humanitarian you think he is. But he don't care. And neither does his fan base. So I tell you, it gives me great pleasure to tell you that the GOAT is, drum roll please, Bill Russell. That's right, Bill Russell. Not only did he play, he coached. Historic Bill Russell. Look at that. Calling the shots. Playing tip-top basketball. Don't care what era it was. Bill Russell, GOAT. 2 hands full of rings. 2! There we go. In fact, if it wasn't for the 6th, I would put that up there on Sports Talk's cover. Bill Russell, GOAT! I have spoken. Cash here. Later.